In this lesson, we will discuss how to find the relative maxima and minima of a function using derivative. Ang function na pinag-uusapan natin dito, yung mga functions na curves, quadratic, or with higher degree. And then itong maxima and minima, ito yung mga points, maximum points, minimum points nung curves. For example, we have here a graph. This one, a graph of this function, 2x over x squared plus 1. Ito ang kanyang graph. So kung nakikita nyo, itong curve na to, may mga higher points siya tulad nito. Itong points na to, medyo mataas kasi nag-curve siya dyan, tapos nag-turn down, and then mataas siya. And then this one naman, ganun din. So if you can see, one is parang minimum siya, and then yung isa na yun parang maximum. Parang lang. Kasi hindi natin sure talaga kung ito ba yung straight ng graph na to ay didiretso pa baba or hanggang dyan lang. But, kung hindi ito siya didiretso, just like straight lang siya dyan at hindi siya magta-touch sa x-axis, so this one will not be relative maximum point but absolute maximum point ang tawag doon. Absolute. Kasi siya na yung pinakamataas, nag-iisa siya. Pinakamataas na point. And then, ito magiging absolute minimum point, pinakamababa sa lahat. So, dalawa lang naman eh. A turning point siya lang naman. Oh. So, ganyan yung ating gagawin sa lesson na to. Of course, with the application of the derivative. But before that, kailangan natin umpisahan sa higher derivative. Ano nga ba itong higher derivative? After getting the derivative of a function dun sa previous nating lesson, we solve the derivative. Yung mga derivative na nakuha natin doon, yun yung mga first derivatives. And then after getting that derivative, pwede uli natin kunin yung derivative ng derivative na. So in that case, magkakaroon tayo ng second derivative. And we can continue the process hanggang sa mag-zero na yung susunod na derivatives. So ang tawag doon sa mga derivatives na yun, after the first derivative, are higher derivatives. That is the second, third, fourth, and so on. Hanggang sa kung kailan mo gusto. Kung kailan mo gustong kunin yung derivatives ng mga naunang derivatives. So example, we have here the function. This is the function y equals 3x to the 4 plus 5x squared. And then getting the derivative of this, we have discussed from the previous one, y prime equals, okay, 4 times 3 here, 12x, and then subtract 1 sa exponent, kaya naging 3 yan. Plus, derivative nitong 5x squared is 2 times 5, that's 10x. And then yung ating exponent, 2 minus 1 is 1. So 1 na lang or no more exponent there. Because it is understood na 1 din yun. And now, this is our first derivative. Now, if we want to get the derivative of this first derivative, we have now the second derivative. Itong naka-red. So, magkakaroon tayo ng double prime. Kasi y prime, prime. Meaning, derivative ng first derivative. So, derivative of now, this one. So, we have 3 times 12 is 36. X square. Square na lang kasi minus 1 nga sa exponent palagi. Plus, the derivative ng 10x ay 10 na lang. So, ito na yung ating second derivative. And we can still get the derivative of this. So, magkakaroon tayo ng third derivative, and so on hanggang sa gusto natin. So, getting the derivative of this, 2 times 36 is 72x na lang. Kasi 2 minus 1, 1. Ito yung ating third derivative, 72x. And still, we can still get the derivative of this, which is 72, the fourth derivative. And last, the derivative of 72 is 0, the fifth derivative. Bakit tinawag kong last? Pwede pa namang paulit-ulit yan. Last na kasi 0 na siya. Ang susunod dyan, puro na yan 0. The derivative of 0 is 0, 0, 0. So, it's useless to find the higher than this, higher than the fifth derivative kasi puro na 0. So, ano na siya? Nonsense na. Okay? So, all of this, from the second derivative upward, are all higher derivatives. Yan yun. So, kinailangan natin itong kunin and I highlighted the second derivative kasi ito yung kakailanganin natin dun sa pagkuha ng relative maximum and minimum points. Tinatawag natin yan na relative extreme points. So, yan yung ating gagamitin. Pero, bago yan, unahin muna natin to. We have here another example. Okay, so first of all, itong ating first derivative class ay tinatawag din natin the slope function. Slope function, yung first derivative. If we know the value of some x, then the slope of the function at that point or at that value of x is yung first derivative. And then yung second derivative naman, we call that the rate of change of the slope. Kasi syempre, pag curves kasi yan, yung pinag-uusapan natin, every time na nag-move tayo, halimbawa, dadaan tayo doon sa curve na yon, every time na mag-move ka, mag-change yung slope. Yung slope ng tangent line to that curve. Kaya, nag-change siya. That's why we have the rate of change of the slope. We have your example number 2. Find the rate of change of the slope function of this one. Fx equals 4x cubed at x equals 2. So, given yung isang value ng x, which is 2. Now, of course, the first step is get the first derivative. So, we have the derivative of this. 3 times 4 is 12x square na lang. Kaya, 12x square. This is the first derivative, our slope function. And the second derivative, we have f double prime of x is 24x. That's 2 times 12 is 24x. So, 2 ang exponent niyan, minus 1, kaya 1, wala na. And this is now the rate of change of slope. So, dahil given yung value ng x, when the value of x is 2, then the slope of the function is f prime of 2. Substitute lang natin yung 2 dito sa slope function na first derivative, which is 12x squared. So, f prime of 2 is 12 times 2 square. 2 square is 4 times 12 is 48. So, the slope is 48 when x equals 2. And then, when x equals 2, the rate of change of slope naman of this function, of the given function, is f double prime of 2. Meaning, we have to substitute 2 dun sa second derivative na 24x. So, 24 times 2 because x is 2 and that is also 48. So, nagkataon lang na pareho sila ha, but not all the time ay pareho yan. Nagkataon lang na same sila ng sagot. The rate of change of the slope is also 48 and the slope is also 48. We have what we call the critical points of the graph. This is the turning points of the graph of the function. So, tulad nung pinakita ko sa inyo na graph kanina, kung saan siya nagta-turn yung graph, yun yung mga critical points. Usually, mga maximum, relative minimum. So, turning points. And that is, if f prime of x equals 0, then yung value ng x doon will give the critical points of the function. So, ito yung magiging paraan natin to get the critical points. I-equate lang natin sa 0 yung kanyang first derivative and then solve for x. Yun na yung magiging critical value ng x. And then the coordinate of this critical point is x and fx. So, ordered pair. Fx is also a y, so parang x and y. Ordered pair siya. When x is this value and y equals this, the fx. Yan yung ating ordered pair doon sa graph. And that is our coordinate of the critical point. Ang ibig sabihin pag ganito class, x gives the value of fx of the function a relative minimum or maximum, depende, hindi pa natin alam sa ngayon. Or also the absolute minimum or maximum. At paano natin malaman kung ano yung ibibigay ng x na yon? Is it maximum or minimum, relative minimum, or absolute maximum or minimum? So, depende yan. Para malaman natin yan, we have what we call the second derivative test for relative extremes. So, pasensya na, nagbali yung spelling. This is relative, this is E, okay? Relative extremes. Meaning ng extremes, minimum or maximum. So, inisa na lang sa extremes sa tawag dyan. We have here the second derivative test. Kapag yung second derivative is greater than 0, kapag yung x is at a certain value. Pag greater than 0 siya, yung x natin dito, class ito yung ating critical point. So kapag sinubstitute natin yung critical point dun sa second derivative and it is greater than 0, so ibig sabihin, yung function natin ay magkakaroon ng relative minimum sa value na yan ng x. Kapag naman, i-substitute natin yung critical value ng x dito sa second derivative and then ang kanyang sagot ay less than 0 or negative, yung sa taas is positive. Pag negative siya, and then yung function natin ay magkakaroon ng relative maximum sa value ng x na yan. Or yung x na yan magbibigay ng relative maximum value of the function. Yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Pero kapag naman yung x natin, sinubstitute natin yung critical value na yan dun sa second derivative at ang sagot niya ay 0, then that test or the second derivative test fails. Hindi pwedeng, walang result pag ganon. Meaning, we cannot determine if the result is maximum or minimum. It fails. So, malalaman natin mamaya kung ano yung mga instances na ma-fail yung ating second derivative test at ano yung magiging itsura ng graph. Bakit siya fail? Example number 3. Find the coordinates of the relative extreme points of the function. This one, fx equals x cubed over 3 plus 5x squared over 2 minus 6x plus 4. So, hanapin natin yung coordinates ng relative extreme points niya. So, we have steps to do that. Solutions. First step natin is find the first derivative, which is f prime of x of the function. Fx plus f of x is the function. So, ito yung ating f of x, and then kunin natin ang derivative niyan. So, we have, okay, derivative ng x cubed is 3x square minus 1's exponent. So, we have 3x square over 3. Kopyahin lang yung denominator. Plus, derivative ng 5x squared, that's 2 times 5 is 10. 10x, 1 na lang magiging exponent kasi minus 1. So, 10x over 2 nandito. And then, the derivative ng 6x is 6 na lang. So, minus 6. And of course, the derivative of 4 is 0. So, no need to write here yung 0. So, ito na siya. And i-simplify lang kasi mayroon pang pwedeng ma-simplify dito. Etong 3 dito. 3 and 3 canceled out. So, x squared na lang maiwan sa first term. 10 over 2, that's 5. Kaya 5x na lang. So, our first derivative is x squared plus 5x minus 6. Now, yan yung ating first step. The first derivative. Second step natin, of course, i-equate natin itong first derivative to 0 para makita natin or mahanap yung critical values ng x. Because these critical values will give us the critical points of the function. So, equate natin yan, f prime of x equals 0. And then, f prime of x is this one, x squared plus 5x minus 6 nandun equals 0. Then, solve for x. Okay, so, balikan nyo naman yung mga technique nyo paano mag-solve ng x. Using factoring, completing the square, etc. etc. Marami. So, sinimplihan ko na lang. Yung sagot dito is factorable, kaya pwedeng i-factor. Kapag hindi, gamitan nyo ng quadratic formula. So, this is factorable kasi nga, simple factoring lang. Diba? O, paano nga mag-factor nito? Maghanap ng factors ng negative 6 na kapag i-plus natin, magiging 5. At kapag naman i-times natin, ay magiging 6. So, yun na yun. 6 and negative 1. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. And then, 6 minus 1, or positive 6 minus 1 is 5. So, yun. Okay, so I hope you can remember the factoring in your algebra subject. And then we have two factors here. It means that we can have two values of x. So, first value, x plus 6 equal to 0. X plus 6 equals 0. And then the other one, x minus 1 equals 0. Then solve for x. Dito sa una, x plus 6 equals 0. Then transpose 6. So, naging x equals negative 6. The other one here, negative 1, transpose to the other side. So, naging x equals 1. So, meron tayong dalawang value ng x. Ito rin yung ating critical values ng x. Para malaman yung critical points, i-substitute natin yung value na ito doon sa given function dito. Yun ang gagawin natin para makita yung critical values ng or critical points ng x. Pero bago yan, the next step is use the second derivative test to determine if the critical values of x will give the relative maximum or minimum. Kasi hindi natin alam yung dalawang value na yun kung maximum ba or minimum ang ibibigay niya doon sa function. So, dito na papasok yung second derivative test. Okay? So, kinuha ko lang yung first derivative natin na na-solve natin in the previous is this one. F prime of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 6. And then we will get the derivative of this, and that is the second derivative. So we have x squared, derivative niyan is 2x, 5x is 5 na lang. So we have the second derivative, 2x plus 5. Now, we will substitute here yung first value na nakuha natin sa critical values, negative 6. Okay, sa pag-substitute dito, mental nyo lang. 2x plus 5. X is negative 6. So, 2 times negative 6 is negative 12 plus 5. So, negative ang result niya. Hindi kailangan na exacto yung sagot. Alamin nyo lang kung positive or negative. So, in that case, negative 12 plus 5 is, ang result niya is negative. Mas malaki yung negative eh. So, less than 0 or negative. So, pag less than 0, according to our rule, that value, which is x, negative 6, will give a relative maximum value of the function. Pag less than siya, meaning maximum yung ibibigay ng negative 6 na yan. Relative maximum. Kasi hindi na talaga natin alam, baka may mas mataas pa doon. The other one is f double prime of 1. When x is 1, mentally substitute lang din itong 1 doon sa function. 2x plus 5 yung second derivative natin. So, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 5 is 7. So, positive yun. So, pero hindi kailangan na ilagay talaga dito 7 ha. Alamin lang kung greater than or less than 0. So, positive of course is greater than 0. So, f double prime of 1 is greater than 0. So, pag greater than, it means that at that value, x equals 1 will give a relative minimum value of the function. So, again, ulitin natin. Yung negative 6 na critical values natin kanina is magbibigay ng relative maximum. And then yung 1 naman, magbibigay ng relative minimum value. Now, we will get now the coordinates by substituting the critical values to the function. Yung original function. Here is our original function, yung given. And then, balikan natin yung ating unang critical value, which is negative 6. I-substitute lang natin dito. So, f of negative 6, we have x cubed, we have negative 6 cubed over 3 plus 5 times negative 6 square, andun, over 2 minus 6 times x, which is 6 times negative 6 plus 4. And then simplify. Negative 6 cubed is negative 216 over 3. And then this one, negative 6 square is 36 times 5 is 180 over 2. Plus, this one. Negative 6 times negative 6, kaya naging positive 36. And then plus 4. Then simplify. Negative 2, 16 over 3 is 72. Negative 180 over 2 is 90. And then 36 plus 4 is 40. And then add negative 72 plus 90 plus 40 equals 58. So meaning our y value is 58. So, one coordinate is when x is negative 6, y is 58 or f of x is 58. So ito yung ating unang coordinate, negative 6 and 58. Okay? Next, our second value is 1. X is 1. Ganon din, substitute 1 into the given function. F of 1 is x cubed, that's 1 cubed over 3 plus 5 times 1 square over 2, and then minus 6x, 6 times 1, plus 4. And simplify. 1 cube is just 1 over 3. And then 5 times 1 square is just 5 over 2. 6 times 1 is just 6. And then plus 4. Okay, class, nagkamali ito. Paki-change. This is not negative 6. Hindi na edit. It should be 1. F of 1. Okay? Please, paki-correct na lang in your mind. equals, okay, 1/3 plus 5 over 2 minus 6 plus 4 equals 5 over 6. Diniretso ko na yan. I hope you know how to add fraction and whole numbers. So, kung wala kang idea, gamitan yung FX calculator, yung Casio calculator, meron yan siyang fraction calculator. Pindutin nyo lang yan and you will get automatically the final answer, 5 over 6. Okay? So, kung hindi, i-review nyo yung inyong skill on adding fractions and whole numbers. We have now the value of f of negative 1 is 5 over 6. So, and that is the second or the other coordinate, 1 and 5 over 6. It means when x is 1, y is 5 over 6. Ito na yung ating pangalawang coordinate. So, dalawa yung ating coordinate dahil dalawa din ang ating critical value. If you graph that, ito yung magiging itsura ng graph. So again, huwag nyo nang problemahin to. Gamitan nyo na lang din ng graphing calculator or yung application na sinasabi ko noon pa, yung FX na mathematics. So, hindi naman kailangan na i-graph talaga. Papakita ko lang sa inyo kung nasan yung ating tinatawag na relative maximum and relative minimum point. So, ito yung graph natin ng given function natin na nandun. Siyempre, ito yung pinakamataas not pinakamataas, pero isa sa mataas. Kaya tinatawag natin yung relative maximum. Ito yung first coordinate natin na negative 6 and 58. And then yung pangalawa dito, we have the 1 and 5 over 6. Relative minimum. Relative kasi may mas mababa pa dyan. Look at this graph, class. Yung line na to, pababa ng pababa. So meaning, papunta siya sa negative infinity ng y. Kaya mas mababa yon. But we call this relative minimum. Dahil nga doon, may mas mababa pa doon. Ganon din. This is relative maximum dahil if you trace this upward, so walang katapusan yan, pataas ng pataas. So that's it. We call that relative maximum and minimum point. Now let's have this example number 4. Find the coordinates of the relative extremes points of the function fx equals 4x cubed over 3 minus 6x squared plus 9x minus 1. So, same question doon sa example number 3. Tingnan natin kung ano magiging result nito. Ganoon pa rin. First derivative natin is, solve the first derivative, the first step. 4x cubed, so 3 times 4, that's 12x squared. Okay, 12x squared over 3, yung derivative ng first term. Minus, derivative ng 6x squared is 2 times 6, that's 12. Minus 1 sa exponent, kaya 12x na lang. Plus, derivative ng 9x is 9. Derivative ng 1 is 0, so no need to include the 0 there. And simplify kung may dapat simplify. We have here 12 over 3, that's 12 divided 3 equals 4. So, the final first derivative is 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Next, hanapin na natin yung critical values by equating this into 0. So, f prime of x equals 0. Again, this is factorable. Kasi first term here is 4x squared, perfect square. Last term is 9, perfect square din. Anong square root ng 4x squared? That's 2x. Square root ng 9 is 3. So, 3 times 2x times 2 is 12x. So, nakuha yung meron tayong formula. Yung a square plus 2ab plus b square. So, 2ab yung gitna. So, I hope you can remember that. Kailangan nyo talaga remember kasi basic yun. You need that knowledge in order for us to solve this. So, this is factorable. Actually, in fact, this is perfect square. So, the factor of this is 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3 or 2x minus 3 square equals 0. So, meaning isa na lang. Isa na lang yung factor niya kasi pareho lang naman eh. So, equate that to 0. 2x minus 3 is 0. Then, solve for x. Transpose negative 3. Magiging 2x equals 3. And then, divide both sides by 2. Magiging x equals 3 over 2. Our final answer for this part. Nag-iisa lang yung ating critical value ng x which is 3 over 2. Now, we will identify in the second derivative test kung ito ba ay magbibigay ng maximum or minimum. So, here we go. The second derivative test. So, first derivative natin, kinuha ko from the previous result. F prime of x equals 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Baka magtaka kayo saan nanggaling yan ha. Dito, ito yung ating first derivative. So, Yan, kunin natin ang derivative ulit yan for the second derivative. So, the derivative of this is ito na. 4x squared, derivative niyan is 2 times 4 is 8x. Okay, dahil 2 ang exponent niya, decrease by 1, so 8x na lang. Minus, derivative ng 12x is just 12. Wala na yung x. So, ito na yung ating second derivative, 8x minus 12. Now, substitute natin dito yung 3 over 2 na critical value kanina. So, f of 3 over 2 equals, pinakita ko na lang kasi fraction para mahirap kasi kunin. So, hindi siya ma-mental agad. So, 8 times x which is 3 over 2 minus 12 is, tingnan natin, 8 times 3 is 24 divided by 2 is 12. So, 12 minus 12 is 0. Pwede rin 8 divide 2 dito. Cancel mo na yung 2. Then, magiging 4 yan. 4 times 3, 12. 12 minus 12 equals 0. Okay. Doon nga sa ating rule kanina, kapag hindi siya less than or greater than 0, kapag exact to equal to 0, the test fails. The second derivative test fails. It means that yung x equals 3 over 2 will not give a relative maximum nor minimum. Nagmali yan. Minimum yan ha. Hindi natin malalaman. So yan. Test fail. Pero okay pa rin. Although pwedeng hanggang dito na lang yung test kasi failure nga. But we still need to get the coordinate of this critical value or critical point. So getting the coordinate, substitute lang natin yung critical value na x equals 3 over 2 dun sa ating original function or given function, which is this one. So, substitute. Palitan lahat ng x ng 3 over 2. So, ito na. Pinalitan ko na lahat ng x dyan ng 3 over 2. And simplifying, we have here 3 over 2 cube is 3 cube is 27 nandito. 2 cube, that's 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And we have here 3 square is 9. 2 square is 4. And then ito, 9 times 3, that's 27 over 2. So, ito na. And now, simplify pa rin. So, in simplifying this, itong ating first term, 4 and 8 here, pwede yung i-cancel na lang yung 4 kasi you can divide 4 here, so magiging 1 na lang yung 4, ito magiging 2. So, magiging 27 over 2 na lang to. Here, 27 over 2. Then, ito, ganun din, we can cancel this 6 and 4 kasi pwede ma-divide ng 2. 6 divide 2 is 3. 4 divide 2 is 2. So, 2 na lang denominator. Itong 6 magiging 3. 3 times 9, 27 na lang siya. Over 2. Pero pwede man din, kung ayaw nyo mag-cancel, edi sige, multiply 6 times 9, 54 over 4. Reduce to lowest term divided by 2. Kaya 27 over 2 pa rin ang kanyang result. Okay, copy that. 27 over 2, then minus 1. And then simplify. Okay, in simplifying, okay, ito na naman kasi complex fraction. 27 over 2 divided by 3. So, tulad nga ng ating rule dati, mag-divide tayo ng fraction. So, kunin ang reciprocal ng denominator at saka multiply. So, magiging 27 over 2 times 1/3. Usually 1/3. Or, pwede nyo i-cancel na lang yung dito. 27 and 3 dito. So, 27 can be divided by 3. Ito magiging 1 na lang to. Ito magiging 9. 27 divided by 3, 9. Kaya, result niya is 9 over 2. O, ito, negative 27 sa positive 27. Okay, obviously, cancelled out na yan. So, wala na yan. Minus 1 na lang. And ayan, 7 over 2 ang result niya. So, 9 over 2 minus 1, 7 over 2. I hope you can remember again, subtracting fraction and the whole number. So, dahil 1 lang naman to, you can have the shortcut. Since, denominator natin na ito, so yung 1, pwede mong gawing 2 over 2. Whatever the denominator, yun ang gawin mong numerator and denominator ng 1. So, 2 over 2. 2 over 2. So, imagine, 9 minus 2, kaya 7 over 2. Ganun. And, ito na yung ating coordinate. Anong ating critical point? 3 over 2 and 7 over 2. 3 over 2, that's 1.5. 7 over 2 is 3.5. So, here is the graph para makita nyo. Ayan. Yung 3 over 2, which is when x is 1.5, nandito. Ayan, 1.5. Klaro naman. Gitna ng 1 and 2. And then, yung y natin here is 7 over 2 or 3.5. So, klaro din, gitna ng 3 and 4. So, bakit natin nasabing failure? Kasi nga, if you look at this graph, nandito yung point na critical na sinasabi natin. Kung tingnan nyo, nag-level, nag-horizontal lang siya. Hindi siya nagtaas talaga. Hindi rin siya nagbaba. That's why fail. So, hindi siya maximum, hindi rin siya minimum. That's why the test fails. Yan ang rason. You can see that in the graph. Now, we will have the assessment. Please answer this. Assessment number 2, I think. So, we have 3 parts to. Nagmali naman. This should be C, A, B, and C. For letter A, find the higher derivatives up to fifth. Itong dalawa na to, up to fifth, or depende kung mag-zero na siya, hanggang doon lang. Pero kung hindi pa mag-zero, huwag nyo nang pasobrahan, hanggang 5 lang talaga. Letter B, find the slow function and the rate of change of the slow function of the following function at x equals 4. So, balikan nyo na yung example natin kanina, paano gawin. And then last, find the critical values, relative extreme points, and coordinates of the following functions. Dalawa. So, balikan nyo lang yung ating previous example. Ganito din yan. Okay, so for this lesson, hanggang dito na lang muna tayo. Thank you for watching. Good luck!